Hello, and welcome to AFD TV. I'm your host, Savita, here with my dad, Dr. Sam, and nurse Amber. Today we're going to talk about the ketone diet.
So Amber, the ketone diet's gotten very popular, huh?
Yeah, we've had tons of patients, and I've had tons of people just that I know. I was at a wedding party this weekend, and I ran into two people. One had lost 40 pounds and one had lost 60 pounds in a very short period of time, with the ketone diet. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. I mean, there's been many studies that show that it's been effective for weight loss, and there's a lot of health benefits with our bodies not only being able to process carbohydrates, but also processing fats as well. And so ultimately, when our body breaks down fats, instead of making glucose, it's making ketones, which is another fuel for our brains as well too. So the ketone diet is something that your body has to get adjusted to. However, it is something that human bodies have been in ketosis for millions of years. So it's more when we're eating all the time, then our body never really has a chance to be in ketosis. So it's very interesting. I mean, I'm more of a believer personally of a plant-based diet, and so a lot of times when you look at the original diet that used a lot of ketosis, it was the Atkins diet.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah, which used a lot of animal fat and so on, which makes sense for me, getting your body equipped, or what's it called? To do ketosis, because now you're burning fat, but with intermittent fasting is also another form of ketosis. Rather than burning external fat that you're eating, you're burning your own fat.
Absolutely. So. There's a book we actually we have at work, and it talks a lot about intermittent fasting. It's Dr. Fung, and is it a nephrologist, I believe?
Yeah, he's a nephrologist.
Yeah.
And it's a complete guide to fasting, and he has seen a lot of issues with type 2 diabetes and kidney issues, and how much of our healthcare system is challenged with type 2 diabetes, which his big belief, and he has a new book called The Diabetes Code.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and how ideally type 2 diabetes should be treated with diet, and in his case, what he encourages intermittent fasting. So yeah, it's not for everyone. You can't be pregnant or
right.
nursing. For anyone who's growing, like my daughter here,
right.
So anyone who's growing, we don't recommend it. But if you're fully grown and, if you're underweight, no, we don't recommend it.
Right.
But, even if you're at a normal weight, it's reasonable to.
Well, there's brain benefits to fasting. One of the things that me and you read was there was a study that Harvard had written an article about, talking about using the keto diet for children with seizures and even adults with Alzheimer's and dementia, and how they're starting to do studies on how it's actually helping with the keto diet and intermittent fasting as well.
Yeah, because ultimately, rather than your brain and our bodies being dependent on just one fuel source, glucose, now we're almost like a hybrid, where we can use both glucose and ketones as well. So as far as the health benefits, there have been a lot of studies on it. I mean, with the keto diet, and especially with intermittent fasting or anything new, we definitely recommend working with your physician or healthcare provider to make sure that you're doing it in a safe, healthy way. I mean, in the meantime, reading books like The Complete Guide to Fasting or The Diabetes Code are
yeah,
great
I'm reading
ways to
Keto
learn.
Clarity right now, which is an excellent read.
Yeah, and one question that people will have is, how do they know they're in ketosis? Well, these are called ketone test strips, and as far as intermittent fasting, for our patients who are doing it, a lot of them, they'll notice after, especially about 24 hours, where they're just drinking mostly water or black coffee, more of a water fast. With the ketone diet, you just pass this through your urine stream, and then you can see which color it turns into, as far as small, moderate, or large. So that's kind of that's a quick and easy way to see if you're in ketosis. And a lot of times when people are getting adjusted to ketosis, at first they may be,
oh, you're tired.
Yeah.
When I did it the first time, I mean, I don't know, other than being pregnant, I don't think I've ever been so tired in my life for about 4 days.
Oh, you fasted for how long?
Well, it was the beginning of my fast, but going into ketosis.
Oh, okay.
And it was getting off, I call it the Nurse's Delight Diet Coke, and getting off all the carbs and things like that. And it was about 4 days, and I would literally go to work and come home, maybe make the kids something to eat, or rely on my husband to come home and make peanut butter and jelly, and then I would just be in bed. And it took me about 4 days to not get to that point, but about 2 weeks into it, I felt, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, no, and I mean, everyone's different. I mean, there's a lot of people who, especially with intermittent fasting, they'll say the first day or two is harder, but then once their body kind of gets into ketosis, then they have a fuel source, then they feel great again. They can exercise, they can do their normal activities.
I think the key is the water, or the black coffee. I don't do black coffee or tea or anything, but I do lots of water, and it makes such a huge difference.
Oh yeah, you don't want to get dehydrated. That's very important. And the biggest thing with intermittent fasting, which I've always been surprised about, is I love water. When I'm, how much water I drink when we're eating food, right? But I keep drinking, encouraging you guys to drink more water too, right? Yeah.
Funny how that changed over the years. Remember when we were kids, you weren't supposed to drink with your meals?
Oh.
Yeah, I remember, and now you're supposed to drink lots of water. So
yeah, but when I'm not eating and I'm on intermittent fast, now you have to bother me to drink. And there's actually water apps, hydration apps that keeps track of how much you're drinking, just to and a good test is making sure you're peeing all the time and your urine is clear. So that's kind of a good way to see if you're well hydrated. But yeah, just drinking plenty of water is very much key. And you don't have the reminder if you're doing intermittent fasting that if you're not eating, you just have to remember to drink water. What do I bring in the car every time we go anywhere?
Water?
Yeah, I always bring my water bottle. I always carry my water bottle with me, right? So that way I'm always...
I've got one of the new, I think it's Yeti makes mine, but it's a screw-on one. Have you tried that?
No.
The insulated screw-on. I had it, I went to camp a couple weeks ago, and it kept ice in there for 2.5 days.
Really?
Yeah, and it just made it super easy to remember to drink water. I loved it.
Oh, that's great.
It was really, really, really nice.
Yeah. So it's kind of nice. I mean, now you don't have to deal with, eating all the time, but if you're doing intermittent fasting, I mean, what I try to do for intermittent fasting is try to keep my eating window personally between 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. And try to eat my, sometimes I get hungry beforehand and I'll have nuts, or what we call hangry, and afterwards, if I'm hungry, I'll eat as well too. And as long as I'm picking healthier choices, I think that's
for sure.
That's going to be key. But
and if you're doing the keto diet, it is, and one thing I really recommend as a nurse is, and just like Dr. Sam's saying, is reading those books. I find I follow a couple Facebook groups and I follow a couple blogs with some of the keto stuff, and some of the advice is just bad. What I recommend is finding a good doctor who wrote a book that's done research and you've got some good science behind it too.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, my weight, I'm comfortable with my weight. It's more from the health benefits.
Absolutely.
Trying to keep my cholesterol under control, trying to keep my
dementia, Alzheimer's prevention.
Yeah. And so it's just for maintenance, and I mean, I had plenty of years where I ate all I can eat and more. So now I have to work on the other end. And I feel better because, I don't feel distracted with food all the time. So I can focus on living life, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we even had an incident just to talk about like how dependent we've become about like the 3 square meal. Dr. Sam and I did a seminar, it wasn't too long ago, and within, 45 minutes or maybe even less, we had 2 teenagers pass out just from not eating from a lunch period to, what would you say, like an hour and a half after school?
Yeah, they just didn't have their after school snack when they came for, and so. I
mean, in 14 years of being in medicine, I've never seen anything like that.
It's just when we train our body to have breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks all the time, that definitely that our bodies get used to it.
Absolutely. Especially that sugary fuel or
Yeah.
carb fuel.
Yeah, so.
Well, thank you. I mean, I think that was a really good overview of intermittent fasting and with the keto diet. Again, look up a book. Right now I'm reading Keto Clarity. I really enjoyed that one. There's a couple others I wanted to check into, but good luck with the diet and looking into intermittent fasting.
Yeah, for all the many health benefits. I mean, there's one, was it called the magic pill or?
Oh, the documentary. Yeah, there was one on Netflix, The Magic Pill. And that was
Yeah.
really interesting. And that talked about, just on a side note, the effect of, they were looking at treating autism with the keto diet, which, you know, I haven't looked at any science behind that, but at least the documentary was interesting enough to watch it.
Well, at least it's a nice discussion, you know,
Yeah, agreed.
you know, a lot of times it's the challenge in medicine, life in general is we assume we already have all the answers. Well, that's the farthest from the truth. You know, one great quote is the more we learn, the less we know. You know, because at least you know, and for people, you know, there are obviously books out there, but a lot of documentaries on Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and then you know to research a lot of different ideas, thoughts, and then kind of come up with your own game plan. You know,
I agree with that.
and to work with your doctor, your provider, to find what may work for you best. So,
I love it. That's wonderful. Thanks, Dr. Sam.
thank you. Okay, take it away.
Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Thank you for watching
Bye.
AFD TV. Thank you.
AFD TV is designed to provide an educational discussion about current medical topics. For a personalized medical opinion, please consult your primary care physician or visit one of America's Family Doctors clinics today.